Here we go again.
Oh, no, not again.
You've seen it before, haven't you?
Dom, how long have we been doing this?
Once more unto the breach, dear friends.
Again and again and again until we're both dead.
Hello and welcome to You've Seen It Before, movie reviews and connections in mind. Well, another year has gone by, and as we sit here in the last few hours of 2020, take a look back at the year that was. This year was a doozy, and everyone knows, not only in the movie and TV world, but in the world at large. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it was an easy year by any means. For most people, it was definitely one of the worst years in recent memory, and in a best and worst video, it is certainly natural to dwell on all the worsts that have happened in this year, and there were a lot, to be sure. But as we move into 2021, I'll just encourage you to, while we can't forget the worsts that happened in this year, I would encourage you to focus on the bests as well, and to remember that there were some good things that happened this year, there were some bests that happened, and as we move into 2021, just bring those bests into the year and bring that hope that came along with it as we move into a year that will hopefully be better than this year. There were some, as I said, there were some worst, but there were some bests in the movie and TV world. I look back on my, every year I do a list of not only what was best and worst of, and also just okay of what happened this year, but also lay out a list of all the things that I'm hoping to review in the coming year. Looking back on my my best and worst of 2019 video, that list of things that came out that I was looking forward to reviewing. That got shot to pieces, and basically nothing of that happened, but some things did come out eventually, and I discovered some new things as well that I may not have picked up normally. So let's just look back on what actually did come out this year, list the worst, list the best, and list the things that are just okay, because being okay is just okay sometimes for a movie. So first, let's just get the worst right out of the way, right off the bat here. And for me, the worst movie of 2020 that I saw, and I'm only really counting the things that either I saw in theaters or were meant to be in theaters but got pushed to a streaming service. That only that I saw. This is not a complete list by any means. But the worst thing that came out in 2020 for me was 20th Century Fox's The New Mutants. It's a film that had a lot of anticipation building up to what exactly it was. I was intrigued by the premise of the horror, bringing a horror side into the X-Men franchise. But as the epitaph of the Fox X-Men universe, this one pretty much fails in most every regard, and there really isn't much redeeming about it. The character work, some of the character work is interesting, some of the actors and actresses are doing their best, but overall as a movie, this just didn't work for me. But over everything else really just fell in the okay or best category, which, as far as I'm concerned, is a pretty good thing. But in the middle section of this list, the just okay category, I would say list things such as Tenet, The Invisible Man, and Sonic the Hedgehog. Also Pixar's Soul. Soul in this case would be towards the top end of the just okay for me. Some TV as well that dropped into it would be some Star Trek, the Star Trek Lower Decks Season 1, as well as Star Trek Picard Season 1, and also an honorable mention in the just okay category to Enola Holmes, which I did not do a review of this year, but it was meant to be. It was never intended to be a Netflix movie, but Warner Brothers sold it to Netflix, and it dropped during this year, and there was a lot of promotion on this, so I thought I'd check it out. And for what it was, I like the Sherlock Holmes. I like the more modern interpretation of it, especially Robert Downey Jr.'s interpretation of it, as well as Benedict Cumberbatch's interpretation of it in that sort of universe. And with Millie Bobby Brown as a up-and-coming star as Enola Holmes, I thought it was just delightful. Nothing spectacular, but nothing terrible either. It was just a pleasant couple hours to watch a movie on, and yeah, I think that was all the praise that I can give it. It was pleasant. It wasn't anything spectacular, but I enjoyed watching it. So those are just the main okay points that I would shows that I wanted to go into. Now let's just get into the best of 2020, in my opinion. The TV as well, like The Mandalorian Season 2, great TV. I wouldn't say, would I say it's better than Season 1? In some respects, yes. In some respects, no. But still some of the best TV that I saw this year. Also, the series finale, the season 7 of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And while I can't completely say it's the one in the best of 2020 because the season finale is going to be airing next week in 2021, I will say Star Trek Discovery Season 3 is so far some of the best in Star Trek Discovery and some of the best of 2020. I dropped my review of the episode that dropped today on my channel as well, so if you like, go check that out. And some of the movies, first of all, a small caveat. I know this released at first in 2019, but because I saw it first in 2020, I count it as some of the best of 2020, and that's when it got dropped in wide release, 1917. This was a film that, I mean, it's just amazing, and not only from a technical standpoint, I mean, although that really is the heart and soul of it, but even just from a story standpoint, it gives some twists and turns that I thought were very effective. Even the guest cameos that showed up in that movie were not distracting to me at all. And as for one of the first films, one of the only films that I saw in theaters this year, this is definitely worth seeing on the biggest screen you could possibly get. If you have a friend at home who's willing to, if you could do it safely, and if you can go to that friend's house with the gigantic TV and the Dolby surround sound in their home, maybe go check that out. Maybe wear masks or whatever at their friend's house if they're like that and you need to be safe about it. Definitely see 1917 on a big screen. Also, Wonder Woman 1984 I would consider one of the best films of this year. Also, not one of the there were definitely some issues with it. I'm not going to deny that, but from what I saw, it was definitely a fun romp. It was exactly what I wanted to do, and looking back on it, the fact that it got delayed to Christmas of this year makes it, without any spoilers, unintentionally a pretty good Christmas movie. I'm not gonna lie. So there's that going as well. And another one of the first films that came out earlier this year, also saw in theaters, and is my personal favorite of 2020, and it is Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. Again, this movie does have certain issues, mainly with not focusing on some of the characters for very long, or the screen time doesn't necessarily reflect the Birds of Prey element. It's really more of a Harley Quinn movie. But if I was going to choose one word to describe this film, and it's just irreverent. It's just, it does not care about decorum or anything like that. It's just there to come in and be itself, and I appreciate the heck out of it for doing that, and it's just fun. I mean, maybe the action was so great. It was the action was supervised by one of the co-directors of the John Wick franchise, so you can definitely see that pedigree in the action scenes. And maybe just because I have a soft spot for Spider Bait's cover of Black Betty, the fact that that's used effectively in one of the action scenes is another bonus in this direction. It's very colorful, it is very energetic, and everyone in it looks like they're just having a good time. And when the actors on screen are having a good time and they pretty much know what kind of movie they're in, that's when you know that you have a fun movie on your hands. And that is why Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn is my personal best of 2020 and my personal favorite movie of 2020. Also, an honorable mention to, while it did not come out in 2020, I first saw it this year, and it was just one that I've been meaning to see for quite a while. And if you can somehow find it on a streaming service or a DVD that can player that can play Region 2 DVDs, Hellphone is a film that I highly recommend. It is just insane, but it is also a fun time. So go check that out. So those are the best and worst and just okay of 2020. And just to wrap this up, I'm going to give a brief list of all of the films that I intend to review in 2021. And I learned my lesson from in 2020 hindsight from this. I will say some of these films may drop off, or I might add one to the list as the year goes on. And I feel I cannot emphasize this strongly enough. These dates may be subject to change. I didn't think I had to emphasize that going into 2020, but I've learned my lesson. So here are the films that I'm going to be reviewing in 2021. I'm sorry, and they are The King's Man on March 12th, Morbius on March 19th, No Time to Die April 2nd, Mortal Kombat April 16th, Black Widow May 7th, Godzilla vs. Kong May 21st, Free Guy also May 21st, F9 or Fast and Furious 9 May 28th, Ghostbusters Afterlife June 11th, Venom Let There Be Carnage June 25th, Top Gun Maverick July 2nd, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings July 9th, The Tomorrow War July 23rd, The Suicide Squad August 6th, Death on the Nile September 17th, Dune October 1st, Eternals November 5th, Mission Impossible 7 November 19th, West Side Story December 10th, the untitled Spider-Man Far From Home sequel, or unofficially Spider-Man 3, December 17th, and The Matrix 4 December 22nd. I'll also be doing some TV reviews. Hopefully, the Orville Season 3 will be finally dropping in 2021, as well as perhaps new... fingers crossed that they find a buyer for Stumptown, which was a huge surprise for me going in at the end of 2019, going into 2020. It was renewed, but it got canceled because of the production. It wouldn't have been ready for ABC or Hulu in time for fall, so they ended up canceling it after renewing it. But it's definitely a show worth checking out, and I hope they manage to get a season 2 ready in time for maybe the tail end of 2021. We'll see. But those are the main things I hope to review in 2021. And here we are in the last few hours of 2020. I hope you were able to have a happy new year. Again, 2020, good riddance. Here's hoping 2021. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate whatever audience I can get. And if you liked this video or any other video on my channel, please give me a like, share, and especially subscribe. I'd very much appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. But just remember, there is nothing new under the sun. And yes, you have seen it before.